Hi, and this is going to be the coronavirus update for April the 1st, 2020. And it's not an April Fool's joke, but there's actually signs of some hope in some of the data that we're going to be looking at today. So we got about zero point 0.9 million confirmed cases, 45,000 deaths. So just divide one by the other. It's about a 5% death rate at the moment. And about a quarter, give or take, of all the cases in the world are currently in America. And it's kind of sad, actually, today. I came across my very first video, which was done on early February, back about here somewhere. There were about 30,000 cases, and virtually all the data was from China. There's virtually none of the virus elsewhere in the world. So I had about 2 weeks of spread data from China. And it's true that, China earlier on, they tried to suppress it, that, there was a new coronavirus and all that sort of thing. But for those who doubt it, the modeling that I did on that data has basically... it's exactly the same as everything else that you see in the wide world. And believe it or not, this is something that if you're in America, you should actually draw some hope from, which I'm going to show you today. Now, as always, you've got to be a bit careful with analysing any of this data because there's issues about how well people are testing and all that sort of thing. But let's take a look at the actual updated data. So you'll get loads of curves like this, which is these are just the growth curves or the total number of cases. And this is Italy and the UK. And America, looks horrendous by comparison. Let's lose those points. And yeah, it kind of is. But believe it or not, there's actually scope for hope in this. And it comes from, if you do the same analysis that I've done on several previous days, you just divide one day, the number of cases on one day by the number of cases on the next day, and you get charts like this. And this is what it looks like for Italy, so the spread rate, you get about 30% more cases day on day until they start their measures, and then it slowly declines over the period of from day 15 to about maybe day 35, so 3 weeks, it goes down to zero. And when this gets, not down to zero, when it gets down to 1, you're getting no more cases of the virus, in principle. This is just it's a very simple empirical model that the rate of the spread goes down, and once the spread rate stops, you stop getting new cases. Then you've got to do the sort of quarantine for an extended period of time to make sure, that the amount of virus in the environment doesn't start getting spread around and provided with living hosts once again. So previously, America had shown no real significant signs. This is the American data here. It had shown no real signs of the spread rate diminishing. But actually, over the past 5 days, you could actually say you make a credible case that the spread rate is diminishing. I'm just going to put an extrapolation in here as a guide for the eye for you. And I reckon it looks, maybe not that much, but yeah, maybe something like that. But the thing is that the rate of decrease of the spread looks like it's faster than it was in Italy. It's very premature data, true. But now let's take a look at it for the UK. And for the UK, it also looks like there are signs that the spread rate is diminishing. And remember what I was saying, that, China is probably somewhere where you can look to with maybe some hope. Now, it should be said that at the moment, America is taking this much more seriously than they were. 3/4 of the country is now in some sort of lockdown. So why should you look to China for hope? Well, if you take a look at the China data, that looked, so they had this wild spread rate, and they got it down pretty quick. And America looks like it's following suit sufficiently much that if I actually, wrong one, I got to translate this data. You'll see that the China data and the American data, about there somewhere. And let's make that 0.015. Even more. 0.017. Something like that. So, I mean, if America is genuinely sort of following the China data, even more, damn. No, 0.02, there we go. Let's go with that one. Now, if you go on that, that means that you're actually much closer to the end than you might think. You're at day, what day are you on at the moment? You're on day 22 after you had 500 cases, and you will be mostly under control by day 30. This is just assuming that, so let's do the extrapolation of what America will look like if this genuinely is the rate of reduction. And if that's the rate of reduction, you're going to plateau out at about 400,000 cases, which would be fantastic if that were actually true. I mean, I've got significant doubts about this. I mean, it's all based on like 1 or 2 days data. So, and also, America is a big country. There are places where it's not quarantining. This might drag out on a longer tail than you're expecting from this. But if that's correct, that your spread rate really does sort of go down comparably quickly to China, then it's under control by the time. You need another day on that. Actually, we need another couple of days. Yeah, it's under control by the time you get 350,000 cases. And at that, it looks like the death toll, the projected death tolls that they were looking at the other day, it's actually quite hard to get to a death toll of 1 to 200,000 out of 400,000 infected cases. I mean, that would be a death rate of like 1 in 4 or something. Now you can, take the sort of pessimistic view that, I mean, let's just do the extrapolation from here that on this day, day 22, after the 500 cases in the country, there are 1,000 people who died, more or less. Let's say that those people were infected 2 weeks ago, which means that you're looking at about a death rate of about 10%. That would mean that you're only looking at 40,000 dead off 400,000 cases. But again, they're kind of optimistic. But if you're looking at the numbers at the moment, it's not far off. I mean, this is a huge, steep decline from what it was some time ago. Okay, so if you still want someone to, if you still want realistic concerns here, because there are realistic concerns, the first world will probably have it under control in a couple of weeks, that sort of thing. And the death toll, the deaths will spike basically a week afterwards. And yeah, like I was saying, if you want to be looking to the China data, China is about a month on from this, and they're starting to open stuff up again. And that's probably a realistic timetable to look at. So if this trend continues, then that'll be fine. With America, you probably got a problem that, if they're not going to close states like Florida, this drags on indefinitely. You basically can never sort of stamp the virus out if you're not going to sort of stop the virus from having things that it can live on. But, I mean, let's just go on the basis that another couple of weeks, it's mostly under control in the first world. And that another couple of weeks after that, you can start reopening things. The problem is the virus can live on people anywhere in the world. And this is probably my biggest concern is India. India, I don't believe any of these numbers for even a slight second, in that India does not have the developed medical infrastructure of a lot of these first world countries. And you can't, in places in the first world, you can ask people to sort of say, just stay at home for a couple of weeks. We'll print off a load of money, which will keep the businesses going. Effectively, we're going to lose some of our wealth, but that doesn't really matter. Everyone still gets fed. Right? I'm not so sure that sort of thing works in places like India and Africa. There are places where you can't sensibly ask people to do what they're doing in the first world. And our fates are kind of tied. You can sort of have much more stringent borders like China. China at the moment, again, this is probably where you want to be looking if you want your examples of what life is going to look like in Europe and America over the next few months, is once it's under control, if you start moving around, when you go into a country, you'll have to go through a quarantine. That you will have to be asymptomatic when you go in. You'll either have to be tested for the virus, and even at that, you might have to spend a couple of weeks sat in a hotel room or something before you're allowed to move around freely. The problem is that if there's still massive reservoirs of the virus kicking around in the world, you can maybe, what the hell is that place? Why is there a giant spot with 2 confirmed cases in the middle of nowhere? Anyway, so with places like India, you've got 1 billion people. There's no way you can easily ask people who don't have enough food to just sort of stay at home and self-isolate. So it's difficult to see what's going to happen there. Anyway, so with that, I wish you good luck, and I will see you next time.